Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're going to be talking about a subclass of the Bard, straight out of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, and this one is a bit of a doozy. This is the College of Creation Bard. This Bard, well, let's just say it's complicated. Bard subclasses typically add new things bards can do. They give them more magic, they give them more weapons and armor, they give them new ways to use their bardic inspiration. The College of Creation takes it one step further. Right away at 3rd level, you get a nice little buff to your bardic inspiration, the Mote of Potential. And it's a really interesting one. You give a creature the bardic inspiration, and when they use it, it has an extra effect that depends on how they use it, because Bardic Inspiration can be used for attack rolls, ability checks, or saving throws. If you use it for an ability check, for example, you can roll the Bardic Inspiration die twice and use whichever roll is better. So you basically get advantage with the Inspiration die. That's not bad. If you use it for an attack, it does extra damage. So, a little bit of extra thunder damage. And if you use it with a saving throw, you get some extra temp HP when you use it to buff a saving throw. So, all in all, it just makes Bardic Inspiration that little bit better. I wouldn't say it's game-changingly better, but it's not bad at all. I say 8 out of 10 for that. But the other thing you get at 3rd level is the Performance of Creation. Once per day, or once per rest, you can create an object. The object must be medium or smaller, and it can only be worth a value of 20 times your bardic level in gold. So right at the beginning, it can be worth 60 gold or less. That's it. That is the only limitation you're given, is its size and its value. What it's made of and how complex it is actually completely up to your DM. Now, as for myself, I would say that any object that's listed in the player's handbook as an object would be potential for this. If you wanted to go something further, like creating a large machine, for example, I would argue that doesn't quite work that way, but if it's a simple machine, perhaps. Or maybe if it's a smaller one. I don't know, there's a lot of versatility in this, and a creative player can definitely do a lot with it. Like I said, you can do it once per day, or if you want to change the object into something else, because you can, if you do it again, the object you originally created disappears, so you can only have one at a time. You can also use a 2nd level spell slot to just do it again. The size limit does increase over time. It goes to large at 6th level, and then huge at 14th level, and obviously the gold value goes up as you level up. So you can create some pretty substantial things. But this gets more interesting later. I would say that the base ability, since the object can't be sold because it only lasts a number of hours equal to your proficiency bonus, and it glimmers and makes music when people touch it, so it's very obviously magical. You can't like create a statuette and try to sell it off because people would know. I would say that this skill by itself is a 7 out of 10. Unless you are very, very good at incorporating objects into puzzle solving, or very, very good at, really creative thinking. Like this goes beyond the minor illusion level of creativity, because you can create almost anything and it can be medium sized, but it's tricky. I think this skill is very tricky and hugely dependent on your DM. So I say, rules as written, 7 out of 10 for this skill. Now, at 6th level, including your Performance of Creation getting upgraded, you also get Animating Performance. This allows you to touch a large or smaller object and turn it into a dancing item. You can do this once per day. The dancing item has a flying speed, a decent armor class, a nicely powerful attack that does force damage. It also can increase or decrease creatures' speed, and you command it with a bonus action. And weirdly, you can also use the same bonus action you used to give Bardic Inspiration to command the dancing item, so that's nice. It's a pet, basically. You summon it up, and, you know, it just helps you in battle, and you can do it once for free, and you can use a 3rd level spell slot, so it's just kind of animate objects light. Certainly not a bad skill. I'd say 8 out of 10 for that. It doesn't really build on anything that you did before, it's just a nice power. It's at level 14 that the Creation Bard really comes into their own, for 2 reasons. One, well, first of all, the ability is called Creative Crescendo. First of all, the amount of items you can create goes from 1 to 5. So immediately you can create not just a weapon, but also ammunition. So that's nice. Also, the size limitation applies to one of the objects. So you can create one huge object at this level. The others must be small or tiny. But again, if you're creating like a machine and then like a weapon and ammunition, that works. But what's also interesting, and this is the part that really changes it up, is that you aren't limited by gold anymore. So any huge object that you can think of, you can just create for a number of hours equal to your proficiency bonus. At level 14, that's 5. So, and it goes up to 6 later. So if you need a large object, a huge object, 15 by 15 feet is quite big. And you can just pop it into existence once for free, and then with a 2nd level spell slot, of all things. And it's just there for 5 or 6 hours. And it has all the physical properties of the same thing. So this really amps it up. Like, I've heard a lot of arguments for, like, well, could you make a cannon? Like, sure, but you wouldn't be able to make cannonballs until now, because cannonballs would be small objects. Heavy, sure, but small. You know, cannonballs, maybe even a barrel of gunpowder, depending on, like, that's another thing. Could you create vaults of acid with this? Could you create explosives? Could you create a bomb? I don't know. That's up to your DM, but I would argue that especially once you get out of the gold value restriction, because up till this point, up till 13th level, the most valuable thing you could make would be worth 260 gold. At 14th level, it's anything. There is no limitation. So your mind can go wild. Create boats, ships, chariots, vehicles, create bombs, vials of acid, vaults of acid, explosives, whatever. Literally, you can make whatever you want. And again, I'm not going to give this 10 out of 10 because your DM could nerf this. There are no strict rules as written that state what an object counts as. But even if you're limited to simple functional objects, you still have all the versatility in the world to make anything you want. Hell, I would argue that without the gold limitation, any expensive spell components, like how about that 25,000 gold diamond needed for True Resurrection? Or the objects needed for the casting of Clone or Simulacrum. These are things that you could create as a College of Creation Bard and use in a spell casting, in theory, as long as the spell casting time doesn't take longer than your proficiency bonus. But my point is that the sky's the limit here, and your DM is really your limiting factor. I give this skill a 9 out of 10, and I give the College of Creation Bard an 8 out of 10 overall. It has the ability, potentially, if your DM's very lenient, to be the most powerful bard and the most powerful character in the whole game at high levels. But rules as written and with a conservative DM, it's still pretty good. 8 out of 10. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below, and keep your eyes peeled for more subclass reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.